Take a slow breath right now, because what you're about to hear is not light or easy. This message didn't reach you by accident. It traveled through silence and hidden pain before getting here. It feels more important now than ever before. Stay with these words because they touch something deep inside all of us. There is someone in your life right now who has been keeping something locked away in their heart, and they've been holding it much longer than you probably know. This wasn't something sudden. It didn't happen overnight. What really happened was quiet and gradual, happening slowly without you seeing it on the surface. If this is hitting you right now, like this video because someone needs to hear this message. They pushed their real feelings down deep because they didn't know what else to do with them. They covered everything and kept it hidden from the world. They told themselves that staying quiet would be easier, but buried feelings don't disappear. They stay in the darkness and get heavier every single day. They build up quietly, and then one day all that weight explodes without warning. That's exactly where this message comes from right now. It doesn't come from courage or confidence. It comes from fear and panic, and the moment when someone realizes they waited too long. Something shifted inside them recently. Maybe they remembered something about you. Maybe they heard your name unexpectedly. Maybe life got quiet enough that the truth became louder than all the noise they used to hide it with. One thought hit them with full force. They might lose you forever. And that thought wasn't gentle. It came late at night when everything felt heavy. It came when their phone was silent, when other people's company felt hollow and forced. When the noise finally stopped, the questions came that they couldn't avoid anymore. They had no way to escape the truth. That's when they couldn't look away from what they ignored for so long. Nobody else carries what you carry in your heart. Nobody else listens the way you listen. Nobody else understands them without needing every detail explained. Nobody else gives comfort without making them feel trapped. When they realized this, the urgency started building. But pay attention to this part, because it matters so much. This urgency isn't just pure love. It's also built from deep fear of losing something special. Once it's gone, that connection can't be rebuilt with anyone else. If they could talk to you right now without pride blocking the way, they would say something honest and plain. They should have done more and done it sooner. They believed they had more time than they actually did. They thought your care would stay no matter how long they stayed silent. They didn't understand that silence has power to hurt someone deeply over time. They're seeing now that doing nothing was still a real choice with real consequences. That choice cost them the closeness you both once had. They carry guilt for not being present when you needed them. They carry guilt for staying quiet when you needed honest words. They carry guilt for not finding courage to be open when honesty was the only thing that could help. At that time, creating distance felt safer and easier. Silence felt more manageable than facing everything directly. Avoiding the truth felt like control they could keep. But avoiding difficult things never protects anyone from the pain. It only delays the damage and lets it grow stronger. Type urgent in the comments if you feel this is for you right now. This person doesn't struggle because they feel too little. They struggle because they feel way more than they know how to handle. Opening up to you would have meant real risk and uncertainty. It meant they could be rejected. It meant losing their emotional balance. It meant facing parts of themselves they weren't ready to see. Until the hidden patterns you carry in darkness come into the light, they control your life from the shadows. You call it fate or bad luck. That's exactly what happened between you both. Instead of following their heart, they let fear make every decision. They let pride speak instead of real emotions. They let silence speak even louder than pride. Now those old choices have consequences they can't ignore anymore. There's a deeper layer to this that weighs heavy on their mind. They can sense you've changed. Something in your energy shifted direction. The way you respond feels different now. Even your quiet presence has a new quality that wasn't there before. You might still have some feelings for them, but you're not chasing answers anymore. You're not repeating yourself hoping things will change. You're not standing in that painful, uncertain place where nothing was clear and everything hurt. That change unsettles them deeply. And the reason is, they leaned on your patience way too much. They leaned on your gentleness while keeping their own heart guarded and closed. Deep down, they just assumed you'd always be there, waiting and understanding. They never thought you'd reach a point where you'd choose yourself. But you did. And they feel the difference now. That quiet shift you made speaks louder than any argument ever could. Listen closely, because here's where the truth gets sharper. What they fear losing isn't just you as a person. They fear losing that feeling of being truly seen without judgment. They fear losing the emotional safety they depended on without admitting it. They fear losing that rare space where they felt understood without being pushed too fast. Only now are they understanding that not every bond can be rebuilt once it breaks. Not every connection can be found again in someone new. That understanding follows them everywhere now. It surfaces in quiet moments when they have nothing to distract them. It rises when they try to move forward but can't find solid ground. It returns every time they compare another person to you and feel the difference immediately. This is why their sense of urgency keeps growing stronger every single day. It has nothing to do with controlling you or the situation. It's about realizing that time isn't something they have in great abundance anymore. They can feel a door slowly closing, not with drama or anger, not with some final declaration. It's happening quietly and gradually in the background. That soft closing is the most serious kind, because when a door closes gently in someone's heart, it doesn't open easily again. Comment heart if this is speaking to your situation. If you have someone hiding their true feelings, they want to reach out to you now. They want to explain themselves fully. They want to offer a real apology that means something and doesn't sound empty or defensive. But fear keeps stopping every attempt before it starts. Fear asks if it's already too late. Fear whispers that maybe you don't care the same way anymore. Fear tells them that showing their real self means facing deep rejection, so they hesitate. They compose messages in their mind and delete them before sending. They play conversations inside their head that never happen in real life. They imagine every possible outcome but still don't move forward. While they delay, the pressure inside keeps building with no release. This isn't a promise that everything will end happily. This isn't a comfortable story or guarantee for the future. This is an honest confession offered from across distance and time. They're not saying all the harm is already fixed. Type yes in the comments if you want me to reveal what your person is really struggling with. They're not pretending they have all the answers now. What they're finally acknowledging, even just in their private thoughts, is that treating you like you'd always be there waiting was wrong. They didn't understand your real value until they felt the emptiness where you used to be. When truth arrives this late, it carries extra pain with it. The pain of losing something that mattered very much, but what this means for you matters more than what it means for them. Listen carefully, because this is important. This is not asking you to wait around patiently. This is not asking for forgiveness before you're ready. This is not pushing you back into pain you already lived through. This is only showing the truth they failed to express before. You mattered to them far more than they ever expressed openly. Your absence feels louder now than your presence ever felt when you were there. What existed between you was genuine, even though they handled it poorly. The real power here belongs completely to the choice you decide to make next. Genuine power doesn't rush forward just because someone panicked. Strong desperation doesn't always mean real readiness for change. The decision is yours. Your choice is your power. Make it wisely. Someone can feel deeply hurt and confused right now and still not be ready to love with the kind of steady care that's actually needed. This person is sitting with honest results today. Results show what we really chose when it mattered most. They cut through every comfortable story we tell ourselves. They remove all the excuses we lean on too heavily. Results show exactly what silence ended up costing everyone. And if you're watching this, pause for a second, because you might recognize this feeling. This person is going back through old moments now. Moments they once thought were too small to matter, but now they look at those moments through loss instead of the comfort of old pride. They remember the small and steady things you did naturally. They remember how you checked on them without needing any special reason. They remember how you could read their mood even before a single word was spoken out loud. They remember how you held yourself together even when they pulled away suddenly. They remember how you always moved toward understanding rather than quick blame or anger. These memories press on them now because they show something genuinely painful to sit with. You met them at a depth they hadn't reached inside themselves yet. You offered real emotional growth and responsibility that comes with a meaningful bond between people, but they pulled away. For a long time they lived as if distance was a safe shelter. Stay with me, because this is where it gets real. But now that same distance feels more like uncomfortable exposure than protection. They feel seen by you, even through the current silence between you. That silence has changed. It once felt like a short pause. Now it feels like real distance growing. It once seemed temporary. Now it feels like something that could continue without any clear end. That difference presses against them in a way they can't ignore anymore. They can sense that you're no longer building your emotional world around their confusion or mixed signals. You're no longer waiting for them to catch up to where you've already been standing strong. This stirs an even deeper fear inside them, not just the fear that you might say no if they reach out, but the fear that they may no longer hold the same important place in your life. They worry that you quietly closed the chapter without any drama or final confrontation. That kind of calm from someone who used to be consistently available feels frightening, especially to someone who depended on that availability without earning it properly. Drop a comment if you've been sensing a shift in someone's energy lately. They're reaching another important understanding now. You never asked them to be completely without flaws or mistakes. You only asked them to show up when it mattered. You never required constant intensity from them. You wanted steady consistency instead. You weren't asking them to completely reshape their core self. You were asking them to live according to the person they claimed to be. Now they see with uncomfortable clarity how many times they reached for comfort when courage was truly needed. They told themselves over and over that they weren't ready yet. They created many reasons for the silence. They made justifications for the distance. They made explanations for why the present moment was never quite right. But readiness doesn't appear on its own. When life becomes convenient, it's a clear decision that must be made actively. When you were offering love and honesty and full presence, they chose not to meet you there fully. That realization hurts them now, because the opportunity no longer feels the same. They can feel the change in you clearly. It shows in your tone of voice and the pace of your responses. It appears in the fact that you no longer work hard to justify your own worth to them. It lives in the quiet confidence that has settled where all the reaching used to happen before. That shift changes the entire landscape around the situation. They believed they had unlimited time because you were gentle with them always. They confused your patience with permanent availability. They saw your care as a promise of endless waiting on their schedule. They forgot that patience has natural limits. They forgot that self-respect eventually rises up no matter how long it was set aside. Now they are caught inside a difficult internal struggle. They want to reach toward you, but they don't want to start something they might not sustain well. They want to offer a real apology but fear making promises they aren't sure they can keep consistently. They want the closeness back but worry about the steady effort needed to hold it with proper care. So they remain suspended between wanting and avoiding, between the pull toward you and the old habit of staying away. That is why their energy feels mixed and uneven and restless these days. Their heart points in one direction while their actions show something different. They imagine being brave enough to take the step forward. They imagine finding exactly the right words to say. They imagine showing up as a better version of themselves. But imagining remains easy while living it demands something real and lasting. It asks for actual change, shown through repeated actions over time. This is exactly where fear tightens its hold most strongly. Deep down, they understand that words alone will no longer be enough to fix things. You are no longer waiting to be moved by what someone simply says. You are watching for what is real and sustained through consistent behavior. This does not mean your care has completely disappeared. It means you grew stronger in a quiet and steady way. You sat with your sadness without running away from it. You faced the disappointment with honesty. You let the truth become clear instead of turning away from it any longer. They are only beginning that same process now, and the timing matters a great deal. Growing through loss feels very different from growing while love stays safely within reach. They understand this even if they cannot say it fully out loud. They know that even if they speak now, what once existed cannot simply return to its old form. That knowledge frightens them because what they miss most is the version of you that trusted without holding back. Trust doesn't reset easily just because someone finds the right words finally. Once it changes, it alters the entire shape of the bond. If you're feeling this right now, drop a chills emoji below because this message is hitting you deeply. They stand at a doorway now. Behind them is the familiar comfort of hiding everything. In front is the risk of real honesty without protection. If they stay where they are, they may lose you without remedy. If they step forward, they must face themselves without usual excuses. That is something they avoided for a very long time. What you have been sensing is not confusion without any basis or reason. It is a real shift happening at a deep level. Beneath all of this, a quiet truth has been growing steadily. Loss does not always arrive with loud noise. Sometimes it comes in like a soft whisper. Sometimes it shows as emotional withdrawal. Sometimes it is a subtle change in someone's presence that cannot be argued with. They feel that whisper now. When they think about calling you, They feel it when they picture you moving forward with peace and clarity instead of bitterness. That image unsettles them because they have no way to stop or redirect it easily. They cannot charm their way past it or stay busy enough to silence it forever. For the first time, they are confronting what their fear has truly taken from them. For a long time, they fought against their own feelings for you. They fought the responsibility of being fully present. They pushed back against openness and softness. Now all that resistance has become pressure inside with nowhere to escape. They are not only afraid of losing you, they are afraid of what losing you shows them about who they have been all along. At a deeper level, they understand this was never just about poor timing. It was fear of being fully seen, fear of falling short in love, fear of not knowing how to hold something genuine without damaging it. They keep returning to moments when they could have spoken, but stayed quiet. Those moments felt minor then, but feel heavy now. You did not suddenly disappear from the connection. You gradually adjusted to what they showed was available. You stopped doing all the emotional work alone. You stopped filling empty spaces with hope. You stopped hurting yourself to keep things alive. That happens slowly without big announcements. They see it now clearly. They notice you no longer lean on them the same way. They notice their thoughts no longer control your mood or choices as much. What disturbs them most is your new calm. Calm can feel more final than anger. Calm shows you have accepted reality. Calm suggests you may no longer invest energy hoping for a different outcome. They are used to confusion and mixed signals, but have no map for someone who has become clear and steady. You are no longer waiting to be chosen by someone else. You stand in your own worth now, and that changes everything at stake. Their fear grows more layered. They worry that coming forward will show they are still not ready. They worry they cannot become the person you need. They worry you see them more honestly than they see themselves. Standing in truth is hard for someone used to hiding behind excuses. They want to tell you their feelings were real. They want to explain the silence and how overwhelmed they felt. But they are learning that arriving late does not undo the past. Good intentions do not erase what you experienced. An apology does not rebuild trust without real change. They know this, and that is why they pause. Growth is not comfortable. They are inside that discomfort now. The discomfort of missed chances. The discomfort of self-awareness. The discomfort of change arriving after the best moment has passed. That is the real urgency inside them. Not just to reach you, but to face themselves honestly. You were like a mirror for them, showing depth and courage. Rather than look into it, they turned away. Now without you, they feel the loss of that reflection. They feel cut off from part of themselves. This forces questions they avoided for years. What you sense is not just that they want you back. It is that they are waking up to themselves, and that brings its own pain. Regret hurts, and seeing your strength makes it more real. They know they cannot return casually through an open door this time. You did not shatter when they pulled away. You did not beg or crumble. You found more of yourself and protected your peace. That has grown their respect for you, even as fear grows too. They understand they must return with full honesty and real change, if at all. The stakes feel too real now. The truth is too visible. That is why they feel unsteady. They do not want to come back as the old version of themselves, but they are not sure who they are without their protective walls. The deeper power sits with you completely. You do not need to rush because of their fear. You do not need to open the door just because they finally heard the silence. The only thing asked of you is to stay honest with yourself. If this message arrived at the right moment, then somewhere inside you already know the real question was never only about whether they feel the loss. The real question is whether anything genuinely real and lasting will follow from it all in the end. Like this video and subscribe if you've been through this moment before, because you're not alone in this.